Brady-Phillips, I'm the Executive Director of the Jersey City Housing Authority. And over here, this is probably, is this better?
Yes.
Okay. And here with members of both our central office team and of course the Holland Gardens team. I'm going to run over sort of where we are in the process. What I do every time we meet is I feel that many of you have been to most of the meetings, but just in case some people are coming to meetings for the first time or you missed something, I'd like to begin our meetings with just a recap of where we are, and then we'll provide you with updates. And one of the updates I wanted to provide you with, we had met with some residents back in November who raised some concerns about maintenance and continued investment at the site. So I wanted to provide some information about that to you as well. So I'm going to begin. So the agenda for today's meeting, we're going to do a brief overview of Holland Gardens in 2019, what's happened in the last year. We're going to provide, as I mentioned earlier, an asset management update, maintenance, and discuss current conditions. We're going to provide you with an updated estimated revitalization timeline. We actually are moving up some of the milestones that happen later, not earlier. And we're always going to provide ways to participate and stay up to date. So a brief overview of what happened in 2019. So from January 2019 until June, we had a Holland Gardens visioning process. In December of 2018, a group of residents and community groups came and met with the leadership of the Jersey City Housing Authority, raised concerns about conditions at the site, and in addition to instituting some new maintenance plans and protocols we'll go over, we started a visioning process. We hired an outside design firm, Kitchen & Associates, and they walked us through 6 months of a planning process, which they led with residents to identify what would be the best path forward for the agency to revitalize this property. And these are some pictures from some of those events. And so why revitalization? When we looked at it, with kitchens, we considered 2 options. 1, renovating, or 2, redeveloping. But why revitalization? The existing conditions at Holland Gardens present significant challenges for both residents and the Jersey City Housing Authority. According to our physical needs assessment, which is something we need to do every 5 years, an estimated $21 million would be needed over the next 20 years to maintain the current properties, leaving the buildings as is. Continuing to maintain the property as is not financially feasible, and it doesn't fully address resident concerns, which in conversation included things like air quality, unit size and quality, parking, community space, and access for elderly and disabled residents. This property was built, I believe, 1944. It was not built to today's standards, and the agency and residents have had to deal with sort of aging infrastructure and a different understanding of what housing needs, how housing needs should be addressed. So at the end of the 6 months, the visioning process came to the resolution that the best option to address resident needs and ensure one-to-one replacement of public housing units and meet current HUD guidelines and financial restrictions was to redevelop the existing site for higher density, mixed use, and a mix of income. And as we've always said, and as our board has promulgated, there will be one-to-one replacement of all public housing units at this site. Currently, there are 192 public housing units. When the site is redeveloped, there will be a minimum of 192 housing units at the redeveloped site. So, after the visioning process in July, the board adopted the vision, and we began having quarterly resident meetings. Before then, from June to July, we met monthly. Now we're meeting quarterly, and at the July 2019 meeting, we covered the Uniform Relocation Act. The Uniform Relocation Act is a federal law that guides what happens when a building that has received federal financial assistance is redeveloped. It sets forth rights of residents and the responsibilities of agencies like ours to relocate and advise the residents, in this case, in public housing. So we're required to provide advisory services, relocation counseling, and an we are comparable replacement housing options that are decent, safe, and sanitary. That is the language from the regulation, DSS, and functionally equivalent to your present home. 90 days written notice prior to the date of move out, and we are required to reimburse residents for moving costs and certain related moving expenses. There is an entire presentation, the video, and the materials that we handed out are on our website. We also have paper copies in the back of the HUD relocation guide for tenants, which outlines those rights and responsibilities. So I'm not going to redo that presentation, but at the end, I'm always happy to answer questions that you might have about that. At our second quarterly meeting, we presented the right to return policy and did a question and answer that people had about housing vouchers. So how did we come up with the right to return policy? From December of 2018 through the monthly meetings, we received many questions and concerns from residents about how redevelopment here would impact them. We also reached out to national organizations like the National Housing Law Project and the National Low Income Housing Coalition and looked at their materials to think about what were the best practices that we could institute for residents and ensure a right to return, and also answer some of the questions that went beyond what we were required to do by law. So listening to your comments and looking at best practices from the leading organizations nationally, we developed a right to return policy. And on October 4th, our Board of Commissioners approved a resolution promulgating a right to return policy that strengthens and supplements existing rights under federal and state law. And we agreed to incorporate this policy into the relocation plan that we're going to have to submit to HUD for approval once we select a developer. We are not there yet. We will talk about the timeline. We do not anticipate selecting a developer for at least until the end of the year, possibly early next year. But just to give you a sense of what that work will entail. So I want to talk about what are our obligations to you as residents under the right to return policy. That policy affirms our commitment to communicate with residents with transparency during the revitalization of Holland Gardens. It reaffirms our commitment and obligation to adhere to federal, state, and local requirements during the relocation process. It establishes tenancy rights, protections, and guidelines for relocated residents that will enable them to return to the redeveloped property. There have been a lot of concerns from people. What does it mean, and how are we assured that we're really going to be able to return here once it's redeveloped? That was something that residents talked about from the first meeting, and I know people still have those concerns today. The reason why we created the right to return policy is we wanted to create a written policy confirmed by our Board of Commissioners that residents here will have the right to return to a redeveloped property. At this stage, I'm going to talk a little bit about asset management. As I mentioned, when we met with residents in the fall, some of them raised concerns about ongoing maintenance at the site. What did it mean for the Jersey City Housing Authority to redevelop this. Would this mean that the agency was going to stop investing in Holland Gardens? There were concerns about, there was an ask to put a significant amount of money to address air quality issues, so on and so forth. And I thought it would be helpful to talk about what has happened in the last year, to give you a sense of what the maintenance schedule has been. So, as many of you know, looking in the last year, we had, since last January, emergency replacement of 7 boilers in the winter of 2019. We have replaced and installed all entrance doors. That took some time. We had hired a vendor who returned doors that did not fit. We had to send them back. I know for many of you that was very, very frustrating. We also had a lot of concerns about mold. So we hired Blue Corporation, which is a state-approved mold remediation company. They came in and did mold testing and recommended remediation services. I should say some of the apartments that said they had mold. Some of the apartments that said they had mold, we went and said they didn't have mold. But we did have a third-party company come in and do testing, and then the apartments were remediated. This fall, we had an issue. We were noticing, I think at one point, we saw an increase in the number of requests and work orders for extermination. So we hired an outside company. I believe we spent about $22,000 this fall to have the outside company come and do extermination. Who remembers when the outside exterminator came? Okay, right. So, and we've done that at other sites. We have exterminators that are our employees, but sometimes when things in a building become too difficult, it makes a lot more sense for us to bring in outside company. So we're not simply addressing it on a unit by unit basis, but that we're really tackling the problem from a development perspective. And they do things like bring in mesh and, put the extermination materials deep in the ground, and they do community areas. So we did that this fall. We also added an electronic intercom system. Those have been installed. I will say we are noticing some challenges with the doors and with the intercom. I'm getting reports from staff that sometimes people are putting wedges or cardboard in between the doors, possibly because they want to provide access to someone who doesn't normally have access to the apartment. I'd really love to know more about that. One of the key things that came out of last year's discussions was the ask to have the electronic intercom system installed and for the new doors. It's concerning that we're having issues with people propping the doors open because the message we got clearly from residents here was this was a priority. And I think it's all of our collective responsibility to make sure that we have the safety and security that we need and what we wanted from those doors. So we can talk a little bit about how to address that moving forward, but that's been a concern. We also invested in excavation services for repairs to the underground pipe system and to secure the foundation in preparation for stairwell refurbishment. And that happened this fall. And we also have used a variety of skilled trades members for preventative maintenance work to the sewage system, boiler system, etc. So when we first started coming out, there were a lot of concerns about sewage backup coming into apartments. We upped the schedule for maintenance. I had noticed that we had not been getting as many of those complaints. We've seen a reduction, and I do think it's come from the increase in maintenance attention to that. So, since January 1st of 2019, the Jersey City Housing Authority has closed out 1,026 work orders at the Holland Gardens site. All 15 front entrance doors are now replaced. I know that took a lot longer than we had hoped, but they are now all replaced. Intercom systems are installed and working in those new systems. Mold inspection was conducted in winter of 2019, and we addressed all identifiable mold problems. As of Monday, I did not check yesterday or today, But as of Monday, we did not have any open work orders related to mold. And we now continue to have weekly preventative maintenance conducted on the site's plumbing system. Now, I say all that, I'm sure, because you live here. There are things that we could be doing better and need to be doing better. You may have work orders that you need to file. But what I want to encourage you to do, the same way we have obligations to you for as long as you live here at the site to maintain maintenance, make sure that the housing is at the level that it needs to be, we ask that you continue to file your work orders. The redevelopment has no impact on your right to file a work order and our responsibility to respond to a work order. Or if something else comes up and we are needed to invest in and address something, we are obligated to do that. And the reason why I say that is because I know that people have raised concerns, right? As the site is preparing for redevelopment, are you going to continue to put resources, time, and money into a site? We may not be providing millions of dollars here to address air quality, but I can assure you that we have done all of these things in the last year, and if there are other things we need to do, we will do that. At this time, I want to provide an updated revitalization timeline. We have always said that the dates on the timelines are the earliest that something's going to happen. So if we told you something was going to happen in summer of 2019, it wasn't going to happen in the spring. It might happen later, but we weren't going to go backwards. So at this stage, I want to give you an updated timeline. We are moving a little bit further out. Why? Because it takes a lot of work to prepare to redevelop a property. We have to make sure that we have staffing capacity, and we've developed all of the information and preparation that we need to do this the right way. So originally, we had hoped to have our request for qualifications out by the fall of 2019. We are now expecting our request for qualifications. What that's going to do is we're going to put out a request, and we are going to have design teams, firms, developers, with your architects, apply to be eligible to respond to our request for proposal. We expect that will happen now between the spring and summer of 2020. So we've moved up about 6 months. In terms of request for proposal, fall 2020 and winter 2021. So what this has done is kind of shifted everything about 6 months further down the line. And if things change, again, we're never going to make it earlier than we said it was going to be. We will let you know based on what we see if it might come a little bit later. We expect to have all of the requests for proposals reviewed and a final decision made on the developer by winter of 2021. That's a little bit, the end of this year, beginning of next year. So we're a little bit further out, but not that much, about 6 months beyond what we had originally anticipated. We expect that pre-development, like I said, it takes a lot of time to plan and do things according to what we're required to do by the federal government, state and local. So pre-development, we've talked about advisory. We have to meet with every single family. That takes time, right? And we're not just meeting with people once. We need to discuss whether or not someone is going to pursue a Section 8 voucher. We need to figure out if someone's going to move to public housing. If they're going to choose another option, we need to make sure everybody is placed. That will happen in that pre-development time frame. At the same time, on the development side, we will be preparing all of the necessary paperwork and permits and planning that needs to happen prior to starting demolition and construction. We also need to submit and get approval from HUD for anything that we do. So at this stage, we believe that relocation will actually occur summer of 2022. Previously, we estimated between fall and spring, fall 2021 and spring of 2022. So we're a little bit further out than we had originally anticipated. I wanted to give you that update. So, part of this, we're having these meetings. I will tell you, many times when housing authorities do redevelopment, they don't have these conversations so far in advance. There are actually mandated notices that by federal law we have to give you. Those will come later. We're starting this conversation fairly early, but the anticipated timeline of mandated notices are going to begin this summer. Pretty much the first one is the general information notice. That will go out around the time that we do the RFP. So we will provide general notice to all of you stating that the property is being considered redevelopment. That is the formal written notice. However, we have been having formal notice of this now for quite some time, but we will provide that legally required notice at that time frame. Then you're going to receive a notice of eligibility for relocation. That will come probably in the spring of 2021. And then in the 90-day notice, spring, summer 2022. But I think the good thing about this is since we're starting so early, people should not be taken by surprise. By the time you get these mandated notices, given the way we're doing these information sessions, you have the right to return policies and all of that, no one should be surprised. I know it's still a lot to ask people to relocate and not to relocate, but people should not feel an element of surprise. Again, relocation is not expected to begin until 2022 at the earliest. And prior to relocation, the Jersey City Housing Authority will identify available apartments for relocation. We are going to prioritize the identification of private market units in proximity to Holland Gardens. I know that has been an enormous concern since day one. I know people have seniors at the site, we have families who have children who are in school enrolled in this neighborhood. While we cannot guarantee the number of private market apartments in the neighborhood, we will make it a priority and look at incentives to make that possible. We are also, even though we have a right to return policy that was adopted by our board, we have to create a plan. And the plan is the relocation and reoccupancy plan. What we are committing to doing is providing a draft of that plan before it goes to our board to resident council. Resident council can share it with any of their advisors. We always, when we have these meetings, invite New Jersey Legal Services, Waterfront, NAACP, city council members. So there'll be an opportunity for the plan to be reviewed by residents and others prior to the submission to our Board of Commissioners and to us. And we expect that a draft version of the relocation and reoccupancy plan will be published for resident review and comment in summer of 2020, so this summer. That is our goal. And in drafting it, we again look at, of course, what we are legally required to do, but we'll also look at some of the best practice documents that have been developed nationally, particularly those identified by the National Housing Law Project and the National Coalition of Low-Income Tenants. In the meantime, I say this every time we meet, ensure that you maintain your eligibility for relocation assistance. You do not leave on your unit before you receive a letter of relocation eligibility and you have sat down with a relocation counselor, right? So don't think, that, by moving, you often, what you might wind up doing is preventing yourself from getting the assistance that you're entitled to. You need to meet with a relocation coordinator prior to moving to ensure all of your paperwork is in order. You want to make sure that you ask every question you have about relocation before you move. And in the meantime, all of the admissions and continued occupancy policies, the ACOP and lease requirements remain in full effect. You want to ensure that you remain in good standing. The same way I say to you, we have absolute obligation to respond to work orders, to make sure that the site meets our standards. We still have our policies. This is an active site, a fully active site. Those rules apply, our obligation apply. So I want to make sure that you follow this so that we can do this in a way that everybody's rights are protected. And we have received a number of resident questions. Those questions and answers can be found at our website, hollandgardensvision.org. We can also make those available in the office. How do you stay up to date with where we are? We continue to hold quarterly meetings. Sometimes we'll have more information than at other times, but we will always have our quarterly meetings. All the information on the Holland Gardens revitalization, including information about relocation and resources, can be found at our website. Comments and questions can be submitted here at the office or online. And if you have questions, you can even email them in to Hudson HG Relocation at JCHA.us. We have board meetings the first Wednesday of every month at our headquarters at Marion. And I think at this point, I want to open it up for questions. On the team today, we have Steve Sia, who oversees development. We've got Antoine Evans from asset management. Liz Davidoff, who's working on this project with the development team. We also have Section 8. We have both our director, Patty Ramirez, and our deputy assistant director, Jerry Jones. So if there are questions, and plus we have, our Holland Gardens office staff, Liz and Karen. So I've given my sort of overview, but we're happy to answer questions and address any concerns you may have. Do I see one back there? Yeah. Any questions? Anything we can answer? I know it's a lot, but we're here. There's questions about Section 8 if you relocate, or questions about maintenance. Yes, there's lots of lot. Howard.
My concern is the senior.
Yes. I know. It's an important one.
If there's some kind of way that, are we supposed to fill out applications for the senior building, or how do we go about that?
Okay. So we haven't gotten to that point of relocation. The choice of a senior resident about whether or not they want a senior site is a personal one, right? A senior resident here could request housing at an existing public housing senior site. There also may be openings at other sites, right? So for example, JCHA Stewart is not too far from here. That is a senior site. We also have potential spaces at Unico and other places. But that's a decision each resident has to make. They are not, just because you're a senior, you don't have to go to a senior site.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yes.
But I'm just concerned with how we go about that if we would have a 90-day written note. They don't say written note within 90 days. I know it takes longer to get in the senior.
Well, how would that work? We would be doing it differently. So when we do a relocation, relocatees have a preference. So you don't go to the back of the line with all of the waiting lists. That's what's different. So for example, if the same way you could get a Section 8 voucher, normally residents in the city, our Section 8 voucher program is closed. But when we do a relocation, you will have option of a Section 8 voucher. Or if you wanted to go into a public housing building, it would be based on the availability of a vacant apartment. You wouldn't have to go in the line of the waiting, because when we do a relocation, the relocatees, that means everybody here, if you wanted to move another public housing site, based on availability, you would have preference.
What if there's no apartments available at that time?
I wanted, Ms. Ross, I just wanted to go back to your question. You asked if you're only given 90 days, tell me if I'm right. If you're only given 90 days, how will you have enough time to move into the unit? So the 90 days is a notice that we're required to give out. We will be meeting with residents way before 90 days to talk about what your options are. And after you receive the notice of relocation eligibility, you can theoretically move out anytime after that and retain your relocation benefits. So what we might do is we haven't made the plan complete yet, but if you're a senior who is interested in moving into a senior building, we might meet with seniors and make sure that we get those preferences, and then as units become available, before the 90-day notice even, have, at that point, move into those buildings.
I think that would be a good idea.
Absolutely. And what Liz is saying, one of the things that we've looked at is, we haven't done our survey yet. I mean, one of the things we need to do is a resident survey to get a sense of what you are looking to do. It's going to be very helpful to us to know how many people are interested in moving into senior building, how many people want to stay in public housing, how many people want a Section 8. We've received questions from people who want to know, I want to have my Section 8 voucher outside of Jersey City. So everybody may have a slightly different issue. So one thing we didn't put up there is that we are going to be doing a survey which will give us a better sense of what we need, right? One of the questions is saying, well, how are we going to get apartments downtown? First, we need to know how many people will want apartments in particular neighborhoods. Doesn't mean we will absolutely be able to get everybody what they want, but we have to survey you. We got to figure out what you're looking to have happen while you're relocating. We have considered the option of doing priority for seniors in senior buildings and moving different people at different times, right? So even though within, as Liz said, the 90 days, what we're legally required to give you a 90-day notice, one, we will figure out a broader time within which people may need to move. It may make sense to move seniors a little bit before others, because if we're doing the move in summer of 2022, we may not want to move families with kids in school. We might want to wait until the end and move seniors in the spring. I always am a little cautious about saying these things with a lot of, definitiveness, right? Because we're now 2 years away, but those are the types of things on our end we need to figure out, right? I wouldn't want to move a family with a child in elementary school in May if school's going to be out in June, right? So we might decide that seniors, it makes more sense to move seniors first, and we have senior buildings, right? We begin probably in late 2021 to really beginning to count all of the different apartments in different categories. We're just so far out right now, it makes it hard to make these commitments, and we also don't have a survey. I don't know if 50% of everyone here wants a Section 8 voucher in a particular place, and that type of thing.
Well,
But we're looking at
get started doing that to find out?
Liz, when do you think we're gonna get a survey done?
Let's go, can we go back to the timeline?
Yes.
So, if you go to the notices,
Sure.
So when your notice of eligibility, I'll talk to you. So the question was, when will the surveys go out? And this is all tentative, but I think that it makes sense for them to go out around the same time as the notice of eligibility for relocation, spring 2021. So around that time period, that's when it will start amping up. You'll probably meet with a relocation counselor. You'll start getting to know the relocation team. You'll respond to the survey regarding what you'd like to do during relocation. So we have quite a bit of time before that for you to think about it.
And the reason why it's important for us to do it closer to the date of relocation is because circumstances change and the availability of apartments change. There may be additional apartments online then that aren't available now. What we're trying to give you is a sense of like the things that we'll be thinking about. And there'll be a point in time where everybody will have to leave to, so that we can redevelop the property, but it will not be limited just to the 90-day notice. And given the amount of meeting time that we have, we should be able to move people smoothly and address some of the bumps and issues. Any other questions? No other questions. Are you sure? Look, I got, the section 8 here.
All right,
Yes,
Yeah.
Of course. Absolutely.
I put in, for the senior unit, when I first moved down here or so, maybe a year or so, over here at the Unico House. I received the letter last year to say, you have the apartment. So my husband and I go over there. We fill out an application, I'm not fill out the application, fill out the little rest of the part we had to do because we were new tenants coming in. We saw the apartment. She said how much our rent would be. Then I filled out the paper, and it was my fault because I didn't read it properly. And it had Jersey City Housing Authority. But I wasn't sure, and I didn't ask a question, and like I said, that was my fault. I didn't know I was signing the paper for Section 8 because Maria said, you'll be paying the amount of rent you'll be paying here. So, I was told I was supposed to move out July 1st. Now, I go in, give a written notice to Housing Authority that I'm gonna be off their premises July the 1st. Now, my trip to Disney World was planned way before I knew I was being accepted. So I said to them, I'm going to Disney World for the last week in June. I'm not canceling. Okay? So this is planned way before this. All right. I was coming back the 30th of June, midnight. I'm supposed to be moving July 1st. I done packed up my stuff in May when I looked at the apartment because I accepted. Packed up all my things, gave away half of my stuff, but now I'm downsizing. Okay? And I done gave all this stuff away. Thank God I was corrected back. Most of the stuff. Because I gave my things away, so I didn't move that good back. All right. Now, I called Maria. I'm sure that was her name over there, so Towers. And I said, wow, it's June, the second week in June. When am I supposed to pay this rent? Because I'm going away. And she said, oh, you have to wait till somebody from Section 8 get in touch with you. All right? I said, Section 8? I didn't know I was getting Section 8. So I called Section 8. She gave me the name of the person. I forgot, but it's written down so I go get my paper. And I spoke to the person, and I said to her, I'm going away. So, oh, no problem. We have to wait till the inspectors inspect the apartment. I said, well, all right. Well, when they normally expect the apartment? It's the second week in June. I accepted it the first week in May. Because I know you expect an apartment, don't take that long. Come on, you work 8 hours, all right? They don't take that long. So she said, well, you can't have the place until the inspector come in and see it. So I said, well, I went in there and I didn't see nothing need to be done. That's like a house builder. You know, I just don't board and do all that stuff. Nothing needs to be done. She said, no, let me know how to go. I said, well, all right. She said, I'll call you the 4th week in June. All right. I called her. I said, well, I'm gonna be on vacation, but still call me. Have my cell phone on. All right, I didn't get a call. Now, aggravated because I got the cell phone on my vacation and other people calling me. But I turned it off. I'm not going away. All right. So July 1st comes. Now, I got the moving truck. Thank goodness I had the U-Haul and not paid all that money for a regular truck. Got my brother-in-law, my son, now all these people on vacation in Florida with me. So you know they had to be back to work July 1st. Well, nobody called. All right, now I had to call the phone company. Now I had all these people lined up to come in because they said July 1st, and I gave housing and notice. Well, I was a little bit agitated. So the lady never called from Section 8. All right, so Marie, I'm gonna call, I think Marie. Yeah, Marie. She calls me up about 12-ish, July 1st. And she says, come on anyway. I said, well, Section 8 ain't, call me or nothing the whole time I was on vacation. She said, well, come anyway, and I'll call whoever she had called in Section 8. I said, no, I don't play no games like that. She told me she was going to call me from Section 8, and I'm expecting her call. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not just going to move out of my place, and I gave these people a big note. I get over there, it's going to be hell. And I'll do it. So, okay. 3 days later, no, it was after the 4th of July. It wasn't right before the 4th of July. It might have been that Monday. First Monday. Whoever it was from Section 8 called and said, oh my God. I didn't think the inspector didn't get there. I said, oh, wow. Shit, like get it out. I wasn't kind. Okay, because you told me I had, I explained it. You told me I had to get housing in another 30 days. I gave these people that. But of course, as you know, July 2nd, I went in there and talked to Liz and told Liz, here, take my rent because I'm done with this. Now, I don't like stuff. I don't work like that. That's why I'm asking all these questions about when you're gonna have us move it, because that's not professional. Okay? You tell me to give someone a 30-day notice saying I'm gonna be off the premises, and then you could get me a heart attack. I don't want y'all to do that to me. Not the seniors. Now, you people young people, they hard to take it. But I almost had a heart attack. My blood pressure was up. I had to go to the doctor, everything, because I'm nervous now. Because I'm saying, oh my God, what is this? So, no, you gave this here written note. But she was so nice. Thank God, she was so nice. She said, calm down, don't. She said, well, you can write a note and just say you changed your mind. I said, hell no, I didn't change my mind. I wanted to go there. I put that application over there. It's that they did. Other people didn't do their job properly. They didn't inform me the right way. So that's why I said, tell me about this Section 8. Because, you just can't have people up in the air like that, And it should have been a little bit more professional, I think, and informing me that first of all, I was getting Section 8. Because like I said, I signed the paper, but that was my fault, because I really didn't read it. I thought houses merged in with Unico Town. That was my thought when I signed the Jersey City House paper. So like I said, that was my fault for not reading it properly. You know, I said, oh, they merged together. My thought. But if you're giving us seniors Section 8, make sure the inspectors in, don't have us all jittery, have people saying you gonna move one day and you don't call, let us know nothing. And then the Section 8 lady, I can't remember her name, but I got it written down, will send me a letter and to him, my husband, and say, I turned down the apartment over here at Unico Town. Now, I didn't turn the apartment down, because first of all, you didn't get it for me. I put the application in, okay? And he sent a letter saying, I turned it down. I didn't turn it down, you didn't do the job properly. That's all I'm saying. Now, I have applications in other senior buildings, so that's why I'm asking you about the Section 8. If all the buildings take, senior buildings take Section, I don't know. So I need all this explained to me, and all the other senior buildings do Section 8. Because I don't know if it does, because I do have applications in. Because like I said, I was told this place is being taken away from us anyway in 5 years. So that's why I put my applications in. So I know this year some more will be coming for me to check out. I don't know if you put me on the blacklist or what, when you said turn the place out. I don't know, because they do blacklists. I know that.
I promise you.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But I'll get your name before I get.
Okay, thank you so much.
I appreciate your comments and thoughts and all. And I think it's helpful to understand some of your concerns about doing this transition. So the first thing, it would be helpful.
And you know,
if you and
I'm
Section 8
from
could talk.
Montgomery, so you know I'm already a refugee.
Yeah. And I know people have personal experiences, they've had family members go through different experiences. I think a few things. One, being very clear about what the building is that you're going to, right? Because you may go to a building, is it project-based Section 8, is it portable, Section 8, is it public housing? I think the role of a relocation counselor is to explain all of that to you. Right now, we're very much focused on your rights to relocation, but as we get closer, you raise a very good point. We need to make sure that residents, the rules in Section 8 are different, right? It's a different type of subsidy. And so everybody who chooses Section 8, you're gonna have to have an orientation about what does it mean to be a Section 8 resident. How are you have utility payments, that's going to be different. We have to give you utility payments. So there's a lot of different information, not just the question of making sure that things are done on a timely basis in terms of inspections and being clear about move-in dates, but there are different rules about Section 8, which is why we've asked the Section 8 team to become part of these conversations. I think it's very helpful to hear, but the role of the relocation counselor is not just to get you moved, but to help you move sometimes to a different program and understanding your rights and responsibilities there. The good thing is, we have many more channels of communication now than in prior relocations, and I know not everybody is online and so on and so forth, but it is more helpful now because I do think we have better ways to communicate, both in traditional, written documents, but online. We have ability to pull in different groups that you're working with and provide them with the information too. So, like I said, I was not here. I can't really speak to the prior stuff, but what we're really trying to do is do this as seamlessly as possible. And our role, when we say it's a relocation or reoccupancy plan, it's not simply to relocate residents, but to help ensure that you can reoccupy this apartment if that is what you want to do. So our expectation is while you are relocated, that you are going to be in regular communication with the Jersey City Housing Authority. You'll know the updates of where we are with development. If you have questions about if you're in Section 8, about your unit, about your obligations, about things like utility allowances, that we're in regular communication during that whole time period. You remain part of this Jersey City Housing Authority community, even if you are in the private market. But that was very helpful feedback to hear. I know that Geraldine Johnson's come and she'll talk with you about that specific one, but that's helpful for us. So thank you for your comments. Any other questions? Okay, I think we will stay here for a few more minutes. If people have questions they just want to address to us privately, we're available for that. We will announce the next quarterly meeting. We do these every 3 months. The next one will be sometime in April of this year. We will post here at the site, online, and spread the word about the next one. But I really want to thank you for coming out tonight. Nice to see everybody, and thank you for your feedback.